Have you ever felt this feeling where you have just bought new supplies and you are supposed to feel inspired? It's almost like you are supposed to feel and be a certain way, but then it doesn't really translate in your art. This is exactly what just happened to me after I took out all of those art supplies, got so excited about all the different things I had in front of me, all the different possibilities, pulled out my sketchbook and then tried to paint and realized that everything was falling short. I had taken a break from painting because I was traveling, and then coming back, I was hoping that I had so much energy and I just wanted to pour everything out. But then that painting just flopped. It didn't work. It was not what I wanted, especially in the beginning. I struggled so much. So today, I want to do a video that is a little different from usual, where you are in my head. You're going to be listening to my thoughts and my process as I was going through that painting, and also battling some of that disappointment and anger around noticing old habits shine through. Every painting is always an opportunity to learn and figure something out. And over the years of painting, one of the things that I noticed really hinders my creativity is when I have an outcome in mind, when I already have an expectation to fulfill. I just want you to know that this painting has inspired a free online watercolor retreat that I am hosting with the theme Free Your Creativity. Freeing your creativity is all about learning how to embrace your own creative soul and what you really want to paint. There's so many rules around how we should do things, what kind of brushes we should use, what kind of paints would go well together. And while some of these guidelines are really helpful, it can also hold us down. From my own self-taught journey, I have learned that by connecting with my own watercolor tools and trying things out my own way and making my own mistakes, getting messy was really my way of learning how to free my creativity. Within 3 days in this free online retreat, I will be taking you through how we're going to be painting 9 wildflowers. Now, they're all step-by-step guides, so you don't really need any experience. However, how are we going to free our creativity when we're given step-by-step tutorials? This is where the live sessions come into play, and there will be so many parts where I will be sharing with you perspectives for you to think about, because I believe that a watercolor retreat should not just focus on techniques. We really need to go beyond that. There's so many free watercolor techniques on YouTube. Why would you, well, you know what I mean, but I really want to tap into other conversations during our live sessions, like how you're going to creatively stretch, how to move past tutorials, where exactly is this art style that you are seeking. These were topics that I really struggled with when I was going through my self-taught journey. So I want to share whatever that I've learned, and I cannot wait for you to sign up for this retreat. Click the link below in the description and don't forget to sign up because it's free right now. And until then, let's check out today's video. I had so many ideas coming into this sketchbook. I really wanted something really watery, really loose, inky, and also probably colorful. There were so many different things and ideas I wanted to put down on paper. And while I was really excited, there was something that I noticed about my artwork as I started to paint. The more I paint, the more I realized that it was not translating to what I expected and wanted. This really made me feel really frustrated just because I sat down, made time to paint instead of doing my other
art business stuff, and I really wanted so much more for this piece of art. Sometimes I get into this tunnel vision where I have something in mind. I really, really want it to turn out like how it looks like in my mind. And the more I try and make it look a certain way, the harder it is for that art piece to kind of come out like the way I want it. In the beginning, I told you I really wanted this piece to be really wet and flowy. And today is actually the first time I'm using this sketchbook. This means that I am kind of figuring out how the paper is like, whether the paints move or it get absorbed in a certain way. There were so many different elements that really required my patience, but I wasn't in that headspace to allow that paper compassion and kindness. The more I painted, the more I got frustrated. I got frustrated at so many different things. The most of all was that I was angry at myself for expecting an outcome. I felt like I've been through this before so many times where I've told myself that outcomes is not the destination, that I should really be focusing on the process, what I enjoy, how it feels like to paint. And while it's very easy for me to share these same nuggets of advice to my members in Brush Movement Collective, sometimes I find it so hard for myself to take my own advice. Thing that happens is at the midpoint of a painting where you realize that things are not really going like how you want it, you start to let go of that pressure, and suddenly things kind of start working out a little bit more. Not completely, but you realize that you're loosening up, you're not as tense as before, and there are some marks on your paper that you genuinely like. I start to approach this piece with a little bit more curiosity instead of criticism, and I start to see parts of the painting that I'm enjoying. I like charging in the paints. I really like seeing the paints move on the paper. There are some unexpected blends on this piece that I would love to replicate in the future. This is also a point in my painting where I start to notice that I had started at a poor footing. I had already started with an outcome in mind. The excitement I had with wanting to create something magical and focusing on the destination instead of the journey is often where I get caught in this strange space. I also noticed that there are so many different things that I have to let go while I continue on with this painting instead of telling myself to give up. I have to tell myself that there could be other ways of trying to save this painting. Or is there something that I'm afraid of? Perhaps I'm afraid of just wasting my time today, falling into this productivity trap where I feel like every piece of art needs to be a masterpiece before I make it worth my time. Knowing that I don't have much time on my hands, this is definitely something that keeps on popping up in my head. I also wonder if I'm wasting my supplies, whether I'm using them the right way or whether I should be following specific rules around them. As I went through this painting, this is the stage where I decided to let go of all of those different limitations that was really holding my creativity back. I wanted to take it back. I wanted to take my creativity and set it free. You will be able to see that in the second half of this painting, I just started to do a lot of things that were not my usual conventional way of painting. I sprayed my painting, I added water, I layered with gouache. I did all kinds of things in an attempt to just play, have fun, and really enjoy the process. I wanted to make sure that at the end of this session, it was going to be something that I felt good about more than a piece of art that was meant to be a masterpiece. This goes to show how each piece of art really has a story to tell. that sometimes we look online and we appreciate how beautiful it is at the end, but we don't realize that with every piece of art that unfolds, the different layers and emotions that kind of come into the painting within that very short span of time as we're painting is pretty fast and furious. I hope that this storytelling has given you the chance to start reflecting about your own art making process, the various emotions, thoughts, and things that come into your painting as you are creating. And in doing so, my hope for you is that you also learn to set your creativity free. Thank you so much for joining me and watching me paint, whether it's making messes together with me. I cannot wait to see you again next week.